Okay, so if you're watching this, hopefully you watched my great wealth video. Hello, by the way. Sorry, I just wanted to expand. This is the one problem that I have before I get into. And this video is going to be about the commercial real estate side, and it's going to be about just real estate outlook in general, and then just outlook in general for the next couple of weeks because apparently we have election coming up pretty soon. It's a pretty big deal, right? Here's my problem with the wealth transfer and stuff like that. And if you look at, what we've been told since we've been growing up, since we were little kids, hey, save your money. Make sure, save your money, pay yourself first, right? That has all been, a lie, in my opinion. And it kind of sucks to say this, but it's the truth. I mean, there's been a very micro chance, right, for us to actually deploy that. Actually, a couple of micro chances, not really. If you're my age, you're roughly 30, I'm 29, roughly 30, roughly 25 to 35, that age gap. We thought our opportunity was going to be in 2008 when things were completely crashed, but we didn't get that because we just weren't old enough to really capitalize on that. And things recovered really quickly, which is great. We got booming, and the economy got booming, and we got, people back to work. Credit to both parties for flooding the system at the time and just trying something new and having the courage to do that. But I also feel like, times of economic downturn are usually what is needed to keep society stable, right? Because if you're working hard and you're doing the right thing, and let's say you're taking home roughly $4 grand a month, and you're like, man, I'm not taking that trip to Cancun. I'm not taking these crazy vacations. I'm paying myself $400 a month. I'm saving 5 G's a year, and I've been doing this for 5 years. I've saved $25,000. I've invested it very safely in bonds or whatever it is. I've grown it to around $30,000, and you're looking around like, damn, I can't buy a house. Cars have gotten more expensive. Insurance has gotten more expensive. Everything's gotten more expensive, and I've done everything the right way, right? Where's my opportunity? Where's my chance? Well, someone will say, well, you had an opportunity in April, and that's true. We did. You had an opportunity in April to go in and literally buy up any stock, and you would have tripled your money. Well, that's very easy to say, but that's really hard to do when, we just lived through it, guys. I can't wait that in the next 10 years, they're going to talk about that time, or the next 5 years. Who knows what happened, but they're going to be like from that March, April time until where we're sitting right now in October, they're going to say, wow, you just missed your chance. And it's like, look, I get it. Very, very extreme circumstances. This is with the coronavirus. This is, the government had to throw money. They propped everything up. But low key, I can understand how it makes a lot of people feel like crap because it's like, you look at my videos I made before this when I said that PE ratios were too high. I was like, I made a video about zombie corporations, which were just, corporations that stacked up so much debt and were making just enough money to pay that debt. And their stock price are still high. And you're looking at it like, what the hell is going on here? Like that, they should not be trading as high as they're trading. And basically those people needed to fall off and the market needed to come down in order for us to put our, $20, $25, $30,000, $50,000, what do we have saved to work? So then in 10 years from now, that could slowly grow into 2, 3, 400,000. Then we can have our chance at wealth. But it's like that shit just skipped right over you, right? And that's one of the problems I have that I see more than just the, currency being blown up, more than just governments acting irresponsibly and just printing money and thinking, oh, that's going to solve everything, right? Like Buffett said, don't you think money has been around for literally hundreds of years? Do you think really that we're the first government to realize, oh, wait, shit, if there's a problem, all we have to do is print money? If it was that easy, it's not. And the savers and people like us that are saving and trying to do the right thing are the ones getting killed. Why? Because your dollar is being priced out. Your dollar is being worth less and less. Your 5 years, your 10 years of sacrifice that you didn't go on a trip, that you didn't vacation, that you didn't do those things is being stomped out by bigger players because the bigger players have access to better loans. They have access to a larger, capital, and they're going to be able to make moves more than you ever will. You're never going to have a chance really to come in. I mean, I wouldn't say never. Don't get me wrong. Like you could still put that 25 grand to work in a smart, strategic way, and you can still grow that nest egg. So 10 years from now, you probably could turn that 25 grand. Probably, I don't want to say 200, but I know at least maybe $100,000 invested in the right companies, doing due diligence, or buying a smaller rental, rolling it, But that's not the way it was. If you look at every other time period, you look at, let's just go back to the 80s, right? When we had that recession in the 80s, like in the Valley, a lot of the farm prices crashed. It gave you an opportunity to buy a farm for cheaper. It gave you an opportunity to buy land in general for cheaper. Then in the 90s, when the dot-com bubble happened, it gave you a chance to buy stocks at a really depreciated asset. Then there was a time from 2007 to 2012, it really was a large 5-year time before the economy really picked back up. But this time, the usual 10-year boom to 10 to 12-year boom bust cycle, we missed it. Now, is there another one coming? I don't know. Maybe this is foreshadowing. I'll look back on it and be like, idiot, you should have just waited 6 months, right? Because, but to me, I feel like central banks are never going to allow that to happen. They're going to continue to print or buy up securities on the back end and keep things propped up. So this is just my rant about the whole thing of it makes sense to me when people want to see capitalism get destroyed, because if you're doing the right thing and you feel like you don't have a chance to advance, of course, you're going to want to vote for something different. Of course, you're going to say burn the system down because the system's not working. Because that time that you sacrifice, you're not going to get that time back. And you gave that time up with the hopes and expectations of doing it the right way, that people are going to play by the rules, but the rules are getting changed. And that's the same problem I have with property right laws possibly getting changed. If we've done it so, we sacrificed and did the right thing, and you're going to change the game. It works both ways. It works. You can't just bail people out and only take care of the rich and then just be like, all right, everybody else, screw it. And at the same time, you can't just say, okay, well, we got too many poor people, so we're going to just steal it from the middle class, because it's the same difference. You're going to have that's how revolution sparks, right? Like if you worked really hard for something and you see it just stripped away from you, what the hell do you got to lose? And that's just, my opinion on it. So let's talk about real estate, though. Let's talk about this possible opportunity where I could be dead ass wrong and, things could go the other way. So we saw that, a lot of these, I posted yesterday, I got some responses from you guys about commercial real estate people not paying, right? You heard of like Cheesecake Factory, and you heard of all these places, and landlords are hurting. And just in general, even mortgage people that have missed people that own mortgages have missed payments. Guys, all that stuff is going to be on the back end. You got to think about it. If you're a real estate owner, everything has been just kind of pushed, to the back end. We're really not going to get a clearer picture of this for a year. Yeah, it's staggering when that number comes out, but we're really it's just literally going to have to sit back and wait. It's going to take time to really understand the magnitude of what the heck we're looking at, right? We can make guesses. We could say, commercial real estate's going to go, extremely cheap. Okay, so what if it does? So what if your local mall goes bankrupt? So what if your Kmart or your Walmart, Kmart or Walmart's pretty bad example, but like those mini-sized, strip mall joints go belly up. They're going belly up for a reason. They're going belly up because the market overall has said there's not an opportunity there. It needs to go so cheap in order for you to buy it, to rent it out to someone else, to make a profit on it. But who are you going to rent it out to? If people are buying everything on Amazon, buying everything online, what are you gonna go, rent it out to someone who's gonna start a thrift store or something? It just doesn't work that way, right? Assets get depreciated at a certain point. The depreciation, you really have to look for extreme depreciation. Like it has to go from a building that was worth $800,000, now it's worth like $100,000. That you're like, oh my God, it needed to be dirt cheap that you could rent it for any amount of price and be able to make money. And I just don't see that happening. I don't see bigger players not coming in, swooping up quickly on these, right? So for me, it's probably going to be the complexes, the 5 units and above complexes that are going to come online that I see the real opportunity in. But like I said, it's too soon to tell on the real estate end. We're going to have to literally wait about a year. This time next year, we're going to have a clearer picture. And probably by 2023, that's when you're going to actually see the floodgates open up and seeing, like Buffett has that famous example, everyone seems covered when the tide is high. When the tide dies down, you're going to see who is really naked. So it's going to take time for all this to come to fruition. And as long as we're allowing later payments and we're extending payments and COVID's around, it's going to give people more time, more money to make things right. So you're probably not going to see as many foreclosures because it's really not in the best interest of anybody to see real foreclosures, because when asset prices drop, right, that means taxes in the local areas drop. That means it's just a vicious cycle, and no one wants to see that. Everyone has the foresight to see this, try to keep this protected. Are there going to be certain properties that fall through the loop or the cracks? Absolutely. There's always circumstances. There will be an opportunity, but I wouldn't expect anything until at least this time next year to start getting a clear picture. Now, we're already seeing, as far as the outlook goes, guys, it's pretty simple. If Biden goes in, he's raising taxes. If Trump goes in, he's going to do manufacturing and he's going to lower taxes. Short term, it's going to be great. Long term, we'll see what happens. When, the market's literally pricing in, they don't know. If you look at the implied volatility for November or the end of October, it's literally 50-50. We don't know who our president's going to be. We don't know which ways it's going to go. So for stocks, you could just play both sides. I showed you how to do a straggle. You could just straggle it and hold it. And that looks, never mind. Okay, you can straggle it, you can hold it, and one side's going to prevail, and you can build a position. The other thing is wait for the bounce. If you're holding, you're holding. You're long, you're long. It really doesn't matter. 4 years is not going to destroy you, and you're going to be fine, especially if you've been investing for a while and you have a strong position in a company, or if you hold a rental. That's one thing about rentals, guys. If you look back at time, rents have never fallen dramatically, right? I can't pull up data from the Great Depression, but I can tell you from the 2008-2009 era, which was pretty damn bad. It was called the Great Depression or recession for a reason. Rents didn't fall that much. They fell maybe about 20% in certain areas, but if you bought the property at the right time and if you held for a while, you're going to be just fine. And that 20% was extreme. Realistically, like here where I'm from, rents really went unchanged. It just was something that just kind of carried over, like, well, hey, bud, this is the price. Either you're in or you're out kind of thing, right? But it did take a long time before rents took that jump. And that's why when rents stayed the same, it allowed real estate really to go down, right? So that's one thing to look out for. I mean, and that's why I always said, if you have a good real estate deal lined up where you're making at least 10% cash on cash, I mean, I would pull the trigger. I'd be like, to me, it's worth the risk. You got to look at your own risk tolerance and see what's best for you, right? So, when Trump did get elected, though, things fell and they realized, oh, snap, what are his policies? And when they realized what the policies were, the market just ripped up for the next 2 years, right? And I think the same thing is going to happen. But I think the reason why I'm a little bit more nervous is just because the narrative that was built in that, oh, if Trump loses, he's not going to step down. Or if Trump wins, Biden's not going to accept it till every last ballot is called. So that causes uncertainty. And I don't care what anyone says. No one likes uncertainty, especially when it comes to money. When you're making a bet, when you're buying a property, you're doing an investment, you want as much certainty as possible that you could possibly have that a certain outcome is going to happen. Of course, there's always a chance of a freaking comet hitting. There's always a chance of, like a wildfire. Like there's always risk, but there's risk that you can control, and then there's risk that you can't control. And that right now, we used to be able to control. Okay, whoever won, we're going to accept it, and we're going to move on, right? And we're going to start getting ready. This time around, there's a risk that we can't control, and it's making everybody nervous. And it's crazy because I could easily see a lot of people buying puts, but I could see Trump winning, and it just soars up. And then I could also see a lot of people, buying calls or just saying, I'm going to let it ride, and then Trump loses and it goes down. Or even the opposite. It could be Biden. I don't know. Like I posted earlier, the Biden basket, if you're in the Biden basket, of course you're going to soar, right? If you're in the Trump basket, you're probably not going to do well, especially with corporate taxes being raised again. So the outlook for me is just really, I have puts on all my positions. I'm willing to pay to be able to make sure that no matter what happens, I'm safe. And I bought puts and I sold calls against them to really just, like that protective collar. Like no matter what happens, I'll be okay. I just won't make a lot of money one way or the other. So that, and then as far as real estate, I'm waiting until, this time next year to really see the ramifications of it. Hey, if you learned something from this video, you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. Comment if you can. I'd appreciate it. Help me grow the channel. Oh yeah, and I definitely want to hear what you say. So when I mean comment, I mean like ask a question or something, All right, thanks for watching.